Bienvenue! Oh, come in here. Come and see what I found. I'm at the work table. The pale linen cloth is spread. I use it for small detailed work. It's slightly worn at the corner. Very good for seeing small things against. And on it, right now, I have tipped out the contents of a tin I found at the back of a drawer this morning while I was looking for something else entirely. I stopped looking for the other thing immediately. The tin held 4 rose quartz chips, a piece of sea glass, the milky green kind, 3 small buttons that don't belong to anything I still own. I've been through everything. They belong to nothing. A coin from a country I genuinely cannot now identify, a fragment of pottery with a blue glaze, the kind you pick up on a beach without thinking, a length of ribbon folded very small, and a single pearl earring. Just the one. No idea. I have no idea. I found this tin and felt, not nostalgia exactly, recognition. Every item in it was chosen at some point by someone paying attention, not buying or organizing or planning, just noticing something small and beautiful and thinking, I want to keep this. That is exactly what the Atelier is for today. Come and sit down. There is room at the work table. I want to show you everything that's in here. A Wednesday Atelier invitation for your hands. If you have watercolors, any kind, even the old dried out pan set from the back of a drawer, even children's ones, get them out. If you have no watercolors at all, a few colored markers and a cup of water will do. Wet your paper first, just a clean brush with water across the whole surface. This is called wet on wet, and it is the most forgiving technique in painting because the colors move where they want to and you cannot completely control them, which turns out to be the point. Then pick one color, something transparent, a pale pink, a watery blue, a sea glass green. Touch your loaded brush to the wet paper and watch it bloom. That is the start. A gemstone painted in wet watercolor, a rose quartz, an amethyst, a piece of sea glass, is not painted precisely. It is suggested. The water does most of the work. You're there to choose the color and get out of the way. 5 minutes, one small shape. That's the whole invitation. I have to read you this poem. I've been waiting for the right moment to bring it to the Atelier, and I think this tin of rose quartz and sea glass and mysterious buttons is exactly the right moment. Gerard Manley Hopkins wrote Pied Beauty in 1877. It wasn't published until after his death. He kept it in a drawer, essentially, which feels right for a man who wrote poems like this. It's one of those poems so dense with sensation that you almost have to read it aloud to believe someone put all that into 10 lines. He opens, Glory be to God for dappled things, for skies of couple color as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in stipple upon trout that swim, fresh-firecoal chestnut-falls, finches' wings, landscape plotted and pieced, fold, fallow, and plow, and all trades their gear and tackle and trim. Rose moles in stipple upon trout, fresh-firecoal chestnuts fall. He is writing in praise of patterning, the irregular, the speckled, the varied, the things that catch light differently depending on the angle, the dappled world, everything beautiful because it's not perfectly smooth or perfectly even. I think about this when I look at gemstones. A perfectly faceted diamond is one kind of beauty, but the raw rose quartz chip is another kind. Cloudy pink at one end, almost clear at the other, a little uneven on the surface where the crystal grew, the trout-colored kind of beauty, the pied kind. Hopkins ends the poem, He fathers forth whose beauty is past change. Praise him. But before the theology, the list, all that specific noticing, the praise is the noticing, the beauty is in attending to the particular texture of each thing. Come through, I've put on something that sounds like small, careful things being held up to the light. Bring your tin if you found it. Look at what you have while the music plays. Something happens in that kind of quiet. You start to see what you actually love rather than what you think you should love. Every child I have ever known has had a treasure tin. The one I remember best, my eldest, when she was perhaps 6, was a small pink shortbread tin that had been repurposed with great solemnity. She would not tell you what was in it. If you asked, she would look at you with an expression that suggested the question itself was slightly offensive. I knew, because I had glimpsed it once. A few glass beads from a broken necklace, a rubber eraser in the shape of an animal, I think a hedgehog, a small square of fabric cut from something she loved, a ring from a cracker, a button, 2 small crystals, amethyst, the cheap tumbled kind from the gift shop at a museum. None of it was worth anything. All of it was worth everything to her. The tin lived under her pillow and then beside her bed and then on her shelf, always closed, always slightly sacred. What I find interesting looking back is the seriousness of it, the complete certainty that these objects deserved keeping, and deserved keeping carefully, in a container specifically allocated to them. No adult had taught her this. It is apparently instinctive, the human instinct to collect the small bright things and keep them somewhere that acknowledges their worth. We do not grow out of this, we just become less confident about it. I want to talk about watercolor as the perfect medium for people who think they cannot paint, because I believe almost everyone has given up on it for the wrong reason. The reason most people quit watercolor is the same reason it's the ideal slow-living practice. It does not respond to force. You cannot push it where you want it to go. The more firmly you try to control it, the more it fights you. And the result looks labored and flat and nothing like what you were trying to do. This frustrates people who are used to being competent at things. But when you stop trying to control it, when you choose your color, wet the paper, lay the wash, and then simply wait, it does something you could not have planned. The color blooms, the edges soften, 2 colors meet in the wet and make something that is neither of them. This is what watercolor knows how to do, and no amount of effort on your part can replicate it. You have to let it. Gemstones are the ideal subject for watercolor painted this way, because gemstones are themselves the product of accidental beauty. The rose quartz gets its color from trace amounts of titanium or iron, things that weren't planned, simply present. Sea glass is the result of years of being worn by water. The color in an amethyst crystal is caused by irradiation. Nobody designed these things. The beauty in them accreted. Here is the practice. Take a small piece of watercolor paper or any paper that won't buckle too badly. An index card works well enough. Cut or tear it into a rough shape, an oval for a cabochon, a hexagon for a faceted gem, an irregular shape for a raw crystal, any shape that looks like it might have come from the ground. Wet the entire shape with a clean brush. It should look visibly wet, shining. Choose your color, rose pink for quartz, purple blue for amethyst, pale sea green for glass, deep lapis blue for a stone from the desert. Pick the most saturated version of the color you have. Touch your loaded brush to the wet surface at one edge and let the color run. Do not push it. Touch it again in a different spot if you like. Add a second color and let the 2 meet in the middle and mix where they want to. Set it down. Do not touch it again. While the first dries, do another one, then another. By the time the first is dry, you'll have a small collection of painted stones, cloudy, translucent, luminous in a way that only wet on wet watercolor achieves. Each one different, each one arrived at rather than made. These can be cut out and kept in a tin. They can be arranged on a piece of dark paper as a small composition. They can go in a journal or on a windowsill or simply sit on the work table for a few days because you like looking at them. They don't need to be framed or shown to anyone. They are the practice. Hopkins wrote about glory being in the dappled things, the irregular, the varied, the unplanned beauty of a brinded sky or a finch's wing. Wet on wet watercolor is dappled by nature. The blooms, the soft edges, the color that went slightly darker than you intended. These are not mistakes. They are the technique. They are, in the way of the poem, the whole point. A moment, because I want to tell you about something that happens on Wednesdays when I'm in the Atelier, which if you've been here a while, you know is one of my favorite days of the week. One of the things I love to do is design patterns, seasonal things, botanical things, the kind of imagery that belongs in a room that cares about how it looks. My daughter Gwen found her joy in art not so long ago, and we've made it something we do together. She draws, I develop, and somewhere in that back and forth, the designs become what they are. Ladybirds on soft pink linen, folk florals in gentle pastels, botanical prints in muted blues and greens, warm linen textures in cream and beige, the kind of thing that ends up on a tea towel in a kitchen you love, or on fabric for a quilt you've been meaning to start, or on a bag you carry to the farmer's market on Saturday mornings. The shop is called Gwen's Gardenias, named after her because none of it would be what it is without her, and you'll find the fabric and wallpaper on spoonflower and finished goods, pillows, bags, tea towels, and more on Redbubble. Both links are in the show notes. If something catches your eye, it genuinely means the world to both of us. Now, back to the estate. A letter arrived this week, written on notepaper, it seems. I can tell by the slight irregularity of the ink. I have a box of small things I cannot throw away. Stones from beaches, old buttons, a bit of ribbon, some sea glass. Every time I clear out, I feel like I should get rid of them, but I can't bring myself to do it. My partner thinks I'm being sentimental. I don't know what these things are for. Oh, keep them. Please keep them. Your partner is using the word sentimental as a way of saying these objects have no practical justification, and that is entirely true. They have no practical justification. Neither does the painting on the wall or the particular mug you always reach for, or the garden you spend time in even when the weather is difficult. Humans are not practical creatures at the level that matters. We are creatures who find meaning in objects that carry memory and light. What these things are for, they are a record of your attention. Every object in that box was picked up at a moment when you were paying attention to something small and beautiful. The sea glass because of the color and the light, the stone because of the weight of it in your hand, the button because someone once wore a coat that had buttons like that, or simply because it is a very beautiful button. The box is a map of the moments when you notice things. What you need is not to throw it away. You need to give it a better home. Find a proper container, arrange the contents deliberately, put it somewhere it can be seen rather than hidden in a drawer. The box, treated as the collection it actually is, will stop feeling like clutter and start feeling like what it is, a small and honestly tended treasury. Keep the sea glass, keep every stone from every beach. They're not sentimental. They are the record of someone who is paying attention. There are 4 small paintings drying on the work table, 2 rows, 1 pale green that went slightly darker at one edge than I intended, and 1 blue that bloomed out into a deep navy pool in the center that's honestly better than anything I was trying to do. The paper is still a little buckled from the water. They're not finished or framed. They're 4 rough gem shapes in the morning light, and I find them very satisfying to look at. That is enough for a Wednesday. Something made, something that wasn't there before. Come back tomorrow. I'll be in the kitchen. Until then, take good care of yourself.